everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm in my basement, but I can't see outside, but I feel very sunny in my heart. So I hope it's sunny outside. So today, I have with me the fabulous Jessica Renard. Yay! And hopefully you're feeling sunny inside too. Oh, and we're going to talk about friendship and sex today, just friendship and sex. And since I'm in love with all of my friends right now, and I think it's very apropos for where I am in life. And it feels good. I sent everybody happy Friday text messages this morning of the various little memes that say happy Friday, like everybody got a different one. And I gotta say, just shout out and thank you to the people in the universe, in the world, who make those little cute little memes. And so it was a dancing cat in a sequins dress, and it was just so cute. That's why my heart is smiling. So things like that and how wonderful friends are. And when a romantic sexual partner is also a friend, I think that can deepen the sexual experience so much so. And so, and I'm trying to think, is there a way in which it gets in the way? Sometimes and I'll keep thinking about that. But I think one of the things that couples struggle with sometimes, I think, is maintaining the friendship. Because when you're friends with somebody, usually when they do something, it's funny, it's hilarious. It doesn't really have an impact on your life. And so you can be right there with them. Like, oh my God, you lost $10,000 at the casino? Oh my God, you're so funny. I can't believe you did that. Okay. And so with a friend, you can just laugh with them and, because it has no impact. But when your partner is like, I lost $10,000, you what? How are we going to pay the mortgage? What does that mean? Is that coming out of our retirement? Like, because it impacts me so much. And so I think it's hard sometimes in a romantic relationship to maintain the friendship because you can't have that same distance. What you do very much and very much so impacts me. And so maintaining that friendship to be able to take that into the sexual experience. And then I think also friends, because that distance is there, just that little bit of distance there, is if a friend does something, it's like, ooh, you must be having a bad day. In a romantic relationship, are you mad at me? Did I do something to offend you? We're not okay. Like it shakes you, from my perspective, a little bit more. So, all right, Jessica, what thoughts are coming up for you as I find the outline of what I'm supposed to be talking about?
No, I think to a certain extent, friendship does make a relationship so much more nuanced. And I think it can make the sex a whole lot hotter because you have that emotional vulnerability with someone that if you don't have that, it just doesn't feel the same. But I do think that there are times where people can get too entrenched in their relationships to where if they view this one person as all of their things, that's where things start breaking down because we're like, that's a lot to put on one person. And having a little bit of that distance, like I am not opposed to having separate bedrooms for people who are in a relationship or separate houses. Like I've seen a lot of people that are starting to do like a therapeutic separation or giving a little bit of that distance, which again speaks to the exact thing that you had talked about of it's not having as much of an impact if there's a little bit of a separation, a little bit distance. If our finances aren't mixed, dude, that sucks for you. Like, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Like, I hope you get that figured out and make better choices. But like, that's not for me.
It is very interesting. I am seeing a lot of couples who are able to walk that friendship line better when they don't live together. And so it is so interesting. And so I think one of the takeaways that I want people to take away from today is right now in the world, you can create the relationship that you need for your life.
Mm-hmm.
Be courageous and really ask for what you want. And so,
well, and I think to a certain extent, the step one there is figuring out what you want. And that can be really, really hard because we have so many things yelling at us all the time. Like we have rom-coms, we have romance novels, we have our friends' relationships that we really just see the highlight reels of.
Yes.
We don't see the nitty-gritty hard stuff. And so then we have this inflated sense of romance or connection or relationships that is not based in reality. Sex that is not based in reality.
Right.
And like it doesn't show the awkward parts, it doesn't show the uncomfortable parts, it doesn't show the human parts of like people fart, they go to the bathroom, like people can be very gross, they're sweaty, like there's a lot of things that like, yeah, that's not super romantic, so we're just not going to put that in there. And it's like, yeah, like my partner might get sick and vomit. That's a thing. Like,
I'm watching a TV show right now and I'm so mad. It was shot in like 2016, 2019. So definitely the pandemic gave us a new level of freedom with it's like showing up as our real selves. But in this TV show, I'm so mad because the lady like wakes up in full makeup. She goes to bed in full makeup with
and it's never like blurry or it's never like messy, smudged. Like
perfect.
That is not a thing.
Time. She takes her like 2-year-old to the park, sandbox park slide, and she has on like 3-inch heels. And I'm like, that would
are you serious?
Ever happen? Like, and so it's just this idea, and I want you guys constantly questioning the algorithms that you're seeing on social media and what you're seeing on TV and the reality of it. Okay. I think even a Kardashian mom is not going to wear high heels to literally a literal sandbox to sink into the sand. And so I'm like, no woman would ever do that. No, I mean, just no woman would ever do that. And so making sure, I mean, we can't make sure we're watching reality things, like things that are more closer to reality. But I think I want everybody to be conscious that most TV shows are not featuring people in long-term committed relationships because those don't have a lot of drama. And so we don't put those on TV shows. And when people show up in long-term committed relationships on TV, it's usually like TV has to have the drama to keep you watching. And so just be mindful and cognizant of that so that you're not comparing your life to their life. And you can have gratitude for your life and the things that work well and work on building a friendship. And so what we know is that couples who do have a friendship, the research has shown that they actually can have a healthy, very satisfying sexual relationship and often report greater emotional intimacy, more satisfying sex lives, higher relationship satisfaction. Just, those are the things. And so it behooves a couple to work on the friendship and to figure out kind of what they need to do to work on the friendship. Like, where are we lacking? Where are we missing each other? And for a lot of times, it's just quality time. Okay, let me educate a little bit. In relationships, there's 2 types of conversations that couples can have. We're going to break, for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to break it into 2 types of conversations. One is maintenance conversations. The other is nurture conversations. Maintenance conversation is, who's picking the kid up today? What are we going to do about the water heater? Remember that we have so-and-so's anniversary party this weekend. Remember that the oil change needs to be done on the black car. Like, those are how logistics, those are maintenance conversations. For a lot of people, those conversations do not code as connection conversations or getting us emotionally closer conversations. So couples need to make sure there's space in their life, in their relationship for those connecting conversations, which is usually what we have with friends, right? When I call my friend, most of the time I'm not saying, hey, what are we going to do about the car?
What doctor appointment do you have next week?
Right. It's like, update me on your life. Like, what's going on? What's happening? She may tell me about her car, but it's not in a we need to figure this out type of conversation. It's like, oh my God, they were crazy and they tried to start me $18,000 for something that I know cost $2. And so it becomes a comical thing that we share. And so couples need to be mindful. Are we having nurturing conversations? And so for a good amount of people on this earth, that emotional connection is needed for the sexual connection. So if I can connect with you emotionally, if I feel like we're vibing, the great conversation is happening. It's so much easier for our bodies to have a great conversation and be vibing. And so keep that in mind, because I think one of this is so easy to fall into all nurture conversations and not all maintenance conversations and not realize that we're not having nurture conversations, because life can get busy and life can get hectic. So, okay. All right. What's coming up next for you, Jessica?
I guess to a certain extent, it makes me think of like Emily Nagoski's emotional floor plan in Come Together, of the different rooms in your house, of like, what rooms are you spending time in? What rooms are linked to other rooms? How do we get from one room to another? Care is one of the pleasure favorable rooms, but the kitchen is the obligatory care. So that's like, I'm making foods, I'm taking kids to the school, I'm doing doctor's appointments. That is not typically lust adjacent. It is more the care, the cozy part of care, the nurturing part, like with the nurturing conversations. There's also seeking. So like that curiosity.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of that connection, because I am a very curious person and I want someone who is interested in me to be curious about me, because I'm going to be curious about them. And so it's, as soon as we believe that we know this person and we know exactly what they're going to do and we know exactly how they're going to act, like that's the start of the death of your friendship, because like you don't, like, there's only so much that you can actually predict what another person is going to do, even if you've known them for years and years and years.
I want to say so much about that. Let me try to be succinct and make sure it lines up with this conversation today. Please don't lock your partner into who they used to be. It hurts them, it hurts you, and it hurts the relationship. That's all I want to say about that.
Well, and it's so funny because it's easy to see that. Yeah, but it's easy to see that with your own life. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, we met like 12 years ago, and I'm like, the radical change that I have had in 12 years, like, is mind blowing. Like inside, outside, financially, career wise, like I've changed multiple times since then. It makes me think of like Alice in Wonderland's, like, I don't know who I am today. Like I'm different than who I was yesterday. And so like, I don't know what that looks like. I'm totally butchering that line, but yeah, it's one of those things that if we don't allow ourselves an opportunity to change, and we're not allowing our partners opportunities to change, it's hard to grow when you're stagnant, either in a relationship or as an individual.
Yeah. One of my clients said this. He said he read it in an article that you should look back on your life and be horrified at who you were 10 years ago and things that you did 10 years ago, because you've grown so much. And so allowing for that growth in a marital relationship, a romantic relationship, but especially a sexual relationship. And I know for some people it's hard because you want really my neurodivergent people, I know you want it to stay the same. You want a pattern, predictable, that works.
Some neurodivergent people or ADHD people are just chaos gremlins.
You want a predictable pattern that works and give you the orgasm every time. And so having things change on you feels really, really scary. And I'm going to ask that you still do some work so that you can embrace the change of your partner, that you can be open to your partner changing. Curious, fascinated. I'd love you to be fascinated with your partner's change, and just be open to it in a way that you would be in a friendship. Like, oh, wow, you're getting into what? Like, really? Like, tell me more about that. And I think if we can show up to our erotic partners with that type of curiosity, that right there is just sexy as hell. Like when somebody's tell me what do you like today? What do you want today? That just feels like, it doesn't feel just heavenly, just as you think about that. So work toward friendship. And I gotta say, I feel like in that situation, when I said work toward friendship, it's almost like the undercurrent of what I'm saying is work toward a little distance from your emotional partner so that as they change, it doesn't rock you. Because I think what happens is when your partner starts changing, you start feeling unstable. And that's scary for a lot of us, to feel unstable. So the stability is usually predictable. When I can't predict you, I don't feel stable. And when I don't feel stable, who knows what could happen? And so I'd love for people to be able to like reassure themselves, do a lot of self-soothing, and have that little emotional distance that we have in friendships that allows us to allow our friends to do whatever they need to do for themselves. So like right now, my best friend is in Costa Rica, and I love that she's in Costa Rica for herself, you know? And I don't feel like we're threatened by her being far away.
Yeah.
So, okay. What else?
And I think the big words that are kind of coming up for me is like the difference between enmeshment, codependency, and individuation. And so like when we're enmeshed,
the therapist, say it again. Those are
I love those words. Yeah. When we're enmeshed in a relationship, it's really hard to see where one person begins and the other person ends.
Yes.
To where something changes with one person, it affects the other person so completely because you're kind of wrapped up into one person. Whereas codependency is going to look more like, I need you to be okay for me to be okay. So like I'm going to stifle my needs, or I'm not going to speak about my needs, or I'm going to do everything I can to regulate you because then that regulates me, because we're still kind of entangled. Whereas we have individuation is, I know myself and I love you and I love being a part of this. And I'm able to take that little step back of, okay, I do have individual choices in this situation, and this particular situation doesn't necessarily mean that my situation changes radically unless I want it to.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay. I don't know if I have anything else to share today. I want you guys to go off and be great friends and have great sexual relationships. Like I want partnership in your sexual relationships. I want freedom and curiosity in your sexual relationships. And I want you to strive for it. I want you to have a conversation with your partner about, hey, are we showing up as erotic partners? Are we showing up as erotic friends? What do you think about that? If we needed to move toward that, what would we do? And it might be we would take a walk around the block. Like it might be. We'd have a conversation outside of the bedroom. We'd have a conversation inside of the bedroom. Like what would it really to be erotic friends?
Well, and I think that there are other facets of that conversation, because like at the beginning you talked about like the negatives of being friends in a relationship. And I think the big part of that shows up at the beginning of the relationship, in that you're friends with someone and you may have more romantic feelings towards them. And that fear of changing it and losing what you have can be a big deterrent to like trying to take that step. And also it makes me think of some of the clients that I've worked with that like have very broad boundaries with their friends. So like they cuddle with their friends. They may like hold hands with their friends. They may even kiss their friends. And so like, what's the difference between a relationship and a friendship if those aspects that we kind of think are relationship are involved in friendship? Like, what does that mean? Where is the line there? And I think that can get really, really interesting of what feels like it needs to be a partner space and what feels like it needs to be a friend space, and where do they merge or meet?
It is very interesting. I feel like now I know a lot of people who the lines have gotten crossed and they've gotten in trouble. And so these are great conversations that should be had with couples. So great. Okay. Closing out for the day. What are your last thoughts? What do you want people to take away from our conversation about sex and friendship today?
I guess curiosity is probably the biggest part. Like, stay curious. It doesn't matter if you're together for 25 years or 25 minutes. Like, be curious about your partner. Be always asking some open-ended question every single day to your partner. Learn a different piece of them that you didn't know before, because that will just add to the fabric of the relationship that you're building.
That's really, really good. I have so many thoughts. First of all, I'd like to say that term lust adjacent was just delicious. And so I want to do something with it. I have no idea. I don't know if I just want to write a poem about it or a blog about it or something. So lust adjacent. What are things that are lust adjacent? I want you guys to enjoy, like just enjoy and talk about what the pure enjoyment of a friendship that's also a romantic relationship is. And so there's a really happy spot in there somewhere. And I want you guys to go find it. I want you to go find it. And if you are in that part of life where it feels like we're just going through the motions, we're on the hamster wheel, I think this is a place. Esther Perel talks about this. Sex is a place you go. Like it's a place you can go to have your adult playground with one of your best friends. And so I want you guys to think about it like that. Like how do I take my friend and we run away into the bedroom and play for an hour? And like, how do I just enjoy my friend in an erotic partnership like never before? So, okay, I'm excited. All right, people, y'all have a wonderful summer weekend. Enjoy every bit of it. Soak up every piece of sunshine you can with sunscreen. And we'll see you guys next week. All right, bye-bye.